Peace family, this is Dr. Kia Pruitt. It is Monday, October the 6th, 2025. I had no idea today when I went live earlier that my video was glitching, so I thought I would come back. I hope you would take the time to go look at the live video that Chief Mac and I did, because we did bring some valuable information, but allow me to summarize here. On yesterday, during this feast season between the Feast of Trumpets and Sukkot, which is the Feast of Booths, holidays that we Hebrew people celebrate, Barron Trump's account published something that was very, very telling. And on Twitter, this particular account actually goes by the name of Barron Trump Commentator Account. So I will post that in the description section for you and put it in the comment section, that link, so you can see it. Basically, what the post said was breaking news. President Trump just made history. America is now a sovereign nation under common law. The deep state's fake United States Inc. is defunded and dead. No more foreign rule, no more admiralty chains. The Republic is free again. Are you ready for what comes next? He asked. Yes or no? Then he posts something that looks like it is a signed notice by his father, and this is what it's called: the Declaration of Authority and Summons. By the authority invested by the President of the United States for America as Commander-in-Chief under Article 2 of the Constitution, and by the immutable laws of common law sovereignty, it is hereby declared: 1. Lawful command under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ. Every flag officer of the United States Armed Forces, by oath and by law, is bound to obey the lawful orders of the Commander-in-Chief. The UMCJ affirms that all generals and admirals remain subject to such orders, including the command to assemble. Number 2, sovereign rights under common law. From ancient precedent to modern practice, the head of sovereign republic or kingdom holds the prerogative to summons his military leader for counsel, recognition of authority, and the reordering of the nation's defense. The right is both inherent and incontestable. 3. Summons to assemble. Therefore, by the orders of His Excellency of the Western Kingdom and President of the United States for America, all flag officers are hereby summoned to Virginia on September the 30th, 2025. The Assembly shall formally recognize and reaffirm allegiance to the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. 4. Restoration of sovereignty. Upon the recognition, all military outposts and operations abroad that were established under British Commonwealth or formal dominion shall be lawfully closed or transferred, securing America's independence in full. Number 5, binding duty. The order is issued in fulfillment of the President's sacred duty to uphold the Constitution, protect the people, and preserve the sovereignty of the Republic. All officers are bound by oath, honor, and the law to obey. Signed by President Donald Trump. Now, some people are saying this letter looks like it's very authentic, while others question the validity or the authenticity of the letter. What I would say is, whether or not this letter came directly from President Trump's desk, we do know that the Republic has been restored. We also know that the United States Incorporated is defunct and bankrupt. We know additionally that the reason for the government shutdown that occurred at midnight on September the 30th going into October the 1st, 2025, is to completely eradicate and close down the United States Incorporated, and thereby restore our republic and common or constitutional law. Now, we knew this was going to happen because, for one, the Supreme Court of the United States of America on last year overturned the Chevron doctrine, What does that mean? That means that the Chevron doctrine, which gave the so-called government unlimited powers, has to now cease and desist. So that government or governing entity, the Chevron doctrine, said that any of these corporate entities like the FBI, CIA, IRS, Homeowners Association, all these different things, DMV, different things you can think of, now as 442 of these companies or organizations, they would create their own statutes, codes, and policies that they would just come up with out of thin air and force us to abide by them and call themselves federal when in fact they're not part of our lawful republic. They're not part of our lawful government. Our lawful government, the republic, is supposed to be governed for the people and by the people. But that's not what we've seen happen with the federal government and the Federal Reserve Central Banking System, which are bloodline families that usurped authority from we the people and created their own entity, their own government, their own monetary and banking system. The Supreme Court of the United States said on last year that all 441 of those institutions or government entities, which now there are 442, if you go to my YouTube page, you'll see it in my community section, they all have to cease and desist because they are unconstitutional and treasonous. This is why Elon Musk was tasked with the job of creating DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency, to downsize the government. This is all by mandate, and President Trump is a part of that whole takedown of the deep state, in that he is working and orchestrating to take down the United States Incorporated. It is over for them. He has done his job as the last president of the United States Incorporated. He has ensured that our sovereignty, prosperity, and peace is back online. So this document that came out on Barron Trump's commentation page is very, very important, because what it does is it awakens the masses. For those who had no idea that we had a fake government, now they know and they can see it in writing. For those that had no idea that the republic has been restored, now we have some type of proof. We have confirmation. So again, the Supreme Court of the United States overturned the Chevron doctrine, which gave these entities calling themselves government agencies the power and authority to create statutes, codes, and policies and forced us to abide by them. The Supreme Court of the United States said they're treasonous, and also said that any judge that went along with it and forced you to pay a fine if you didn't abide by those entities, that as long as they did that, they also committed treason. And any judge that knew of a judge that allowed all this to go on and did not report it to the president have committed what's called misprision of treason. All of this was set up and orchestrated so that the takedown would be very, very easy. You pass a law, Supreme Court of the United States, saying they're unconstitutional and they're treasonous, and then you just go ahead and take them down by creating DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. Then here we are during feast season, or holy season for the Hebrew people, and completely shut down the United States Incorporated government. Now, I've been saying for years now, since President Trump's election, his first election, that the shutdown of the government and the resurrection of the republic would occur during the holiest time of the year, around the Feast of Trumpets. And the way I was able to come up with that is that the Feast of Trumpets commemorates God's commandments coming. It came around this time in the Old Testament. The Feast of Trumpets also is about ushering in a new season. You blow the trumpets when you have a wedding. You blow the trumpets when you make an announcement. You blow the trumpets when you go to war. You blow the trumpets at every new moon, because every new moon is supposed to be a Sabbath, a day of rest, a time you commemorate God's goodness and his provision. You blow the trumpets at the entering in or ushering in of every holy or holiday for us Hebrew people, as prescribed in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, including the seventh day Sabbath. So I knew that President Donald Trump is the trumpet in Zion that has been blown against the deep state, United States Incorporated, fake government that has controlled the whole world and those bloodline families. So since he was the trumpet in Zion that's been blown to loudly to alert all the people all over the world that these people were enslaving humanity, and he is that trumpet that says, I'm the one that's going to be used to liberate the people. I knew since he was a trumpet in Zion and his name is Trump, that meant that the takedown would occur around the Feast of Trumpets. So for the last few years, I've been doing podcasts, and I usually would show a video of a trumpet playing or the shofar being blown to say, hey, this is it. This is the announcement. Now, I didn't know which year would occur, but I knew it would be around the Feast of Trumpets. And somewhere between the Feast of Trumpets all the way through Sukkot, which is the last holy day. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can reference my videos called This is the Year of Jubilee, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. It's a 3-part video talking about the holy days. The Feast of Trumpets was commemorated on September the 23rd, 2024. Then you have 10 days counting from that day that we call the 10 days of awe, AWE, where you do some introspection and you get your heart and mind right with God and with others, and you ask for forgiveness and you extend forgiveness. Then on the 10th day from the Feast of Trumpets to the 10th day, you get the Day of Atonement, which fell on my birthday, October the 1st, where you fast for 24 hours to atone or get right with the Creator. At one ment, you become one, at one mentality with your Creator. So on the Day of Atonement, you fast for 24 hours. You abstain from food, water, work, drink, any drink, all enjoyable activities, and you focus on getting your heart and soul ready. Now, although you do that all throughout the year, every day of the year, you should. This is a time where we really get serious on this fast day. What I mean by you do it throughout the year, you get your heart right. You do introspection. So Feast of Trumpets, the new year, it's actually a new year. You're blowing the trumpet to usher in the new year. You're blowing the trumpet to sound the alarm that, this is a time of festivities. That's the holiest time of the year. You count 10 days, all those whole 10-day period. You're getting your heart and mind right with God and making amends with families and friends and everybody. That 10th day to fast, the Day of Atonement of Yom Kippur, you fast. And then that's the first and second. Then you count 4 days after the second, which lands on today, the 6th. And that starts Sukkot, or the Feast of Booths. The Feast of Booths commemorates a time when the children of Israel were in the wilderness and they had just come from slavery from Egypt, and they were waiting to go from the wilderness into the promised land. I go into my video that I did a live earlier today about that in the Season of Jubilee, parts 1, 2, and 3, about what that means. The children of Israel built booths, or temporary dwellings, temporary housing out of branches and leaves. So that's why they call it Feast of Booths or Sukkot. But now in 2025 and all these years since the children of Israel, the biblical story says that they came out of slavery. We as Hebrew people use this time to thank the Creator for his providence. Thank him for his provision. Thank him for him or her for keeping you through your wilderness experience, or throughout trials, tribulations, throughout bad times, heartbreak, shutdown, whatever. No matter what has occurred in your life, you give thanks for where you are. That's how the Gentiles came up with celebrating Thanksgiving around this time. Now, they say that the Native Americans or the autochthonous people had a Thanksgiving. We did. It's called the Feast of Booths, okay? That was changed to be called Thanksgiving, and what they commemorated was something that, according to the story, was about the Europeans overtaking the indigenous peoples. So it depends on how you see it. I celebrate this season as a time of Thanksgiving because it's a part of my Hebrew tradition. So between September the 23rd, Feast of Trumpets, and the end of Sukkot or the Booths, which will be October the 14th. That's considered the highest, holiest season for we Hebrew people. And that's how I knew that Donald Trump would end the deep state around this time. And that is what I've been saying for the last few years consistently. And here we are. It happened right after the Feast of Trumpets. Actually, the shutdown occurred right before Yom Kippur, my birthday, October the 1st, after the Feast of Trumpets and the 10 days of awe, getting your life right and going into Sukkot, which started on October the 6th. On yesterday evening, Barron Trump's news commentator channel posted the letter that I read earlier in this video. So I hope that gives you some hope, family. We know a lot of things are happening. The National Guard is on the ground. These boots are on the ground in these major liberal cities, cleaning up the violence, not just the violence from illegal immigrants that were here, but also violence that's been going on in these neighborhoods and communities for a very long time. What they're cleaning up is the stuff that the United States Incorporated actually put into our communities: the drugs, the guns, the violence, the division, the poverty. Now, just because somebody put drugs in your community doesn't mean you have to take them. Just because they put guns in your community don't mean you have to take up arms and hurt one another. So I'm not making any excuses for what people do. What I'm saying is they're cleaning it up. Somebody asked me on my last video, how is it that you can speak on Nasara, Jassara, and finances and economic growth and wealth being ushered in, but you don't speak on racism and bigotry and bad things that they say against our people? Why don't you speak against that? The reason why I don't is because if people are saying bad things, don't listen. To me, it's that simple. Close your ears. Don't listen. I mean, we're in 2025. If you are still being controlled by somebody's ignorance on what they're saying, then you probably need to grow up. I don't even know what else to say. And who are these people that sow hatred? Who are these bigot peoples? Who, you're not saying anything against racism. Well, racism is a race to resources. That's what they teach you in economics. And if you have a problem with somebody racing to resources and somebody supporting their own tribe, their own nation, their own community, their own family, their own bloodline, then that's between you and your God. I don't have a problem with it. So it doesn't bother me. But in fact, what I have done is learn for people that people say you're racist, this person is racist. They may be race loyal. Okay, what we need to do is find out why it is that the money that comes into the community, the indigenous community classified as black, why does it leave our hands and go into other communities? And other communities, like the people who call themselves the Jews, the people that are Chinese, what they do is they make sure money circulates in their community several times before it leaves their community. And that's how they take care of themselves. In some ways, it's how they build wealth. I don't have a problem with that. If that's racism, I don't care. I'm a nationalist. I love my nation. I'm about America first. I love everybody. I love all people, which is evidenced by what I do every day for years. I love people also that are autochthonous and indigenous, and I love my family and I take care of them. So it doesn't concern me what somebody else says about me or does to me. What concerns me is how I respond, because I'm not going to give an account to Maya. If you believe in your when you pass away or transition or transcend, your heart will be weighed on the scale, and it has to be deemed light as a feather in order for you to ascend to the new world or to 5D or whatever. If you believe in that, it's not my business what you say about me, what you think, or how you treat me. I can't give an account for that, but what I can give an account to is how I respond. And I operate in integrity. I operate in honor. I operate in righteousness. I operate in dignity. So I operate in love. That's what matters. I don't know who all these people are that people are listening to that's hateful, violent, bigotrous, racist. I don't know. But I say don't listen to it. And what some of you need to do is turn off TikTok, because it's just a bunch of kids and people that are ignorant spewing out stuff that they heard. If you stop listening to social media and you turn off the television and you focus on your own life and your own, keeping your body, keeping your mind, keeping your lips closed, keeping your ears only open to truth, keeping your eyes focused on whatever the prize is that you have, the vision and the mission that you have for yourself and your life purpose, and the vision and the mission and the purpose you have for your family. If you focus on that and you start creating multi-generational wealth, if you focus on the good news that Dr. Kia Pruitt gives you and keep your vibrations high, baby, you won't even hear all the noise. It won't even exist. That's why I was like, what racism, what bigotry, what hatred, what violence? It doesn't exist in my reality because my vibrations are high. So that's it, family. And because I only focus on people that are in alignment with me. I have a whole soul tribe made of all nations, ethnic groups, colors, complexions, religious, and political affiliations, and we all focus on good news and how we can save humanity, because that is my purpose, to liberate humanity. So that's my charge to you. Focus on what's good. Turn off the old chatter and the noise. Focus on your mission, your life purpose, and what you're doing for your life, your family, your community, and society at large. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt. I hope I said something to raise your vibrations and inspire you to create the most amazing, magnificent life that you desire and deserve. We're almost there, family. Your peace, love, prosperity, sovereignty, and wealth are right at the door. We're on the precipice of change. Goodbye. Go out and make this a great day. Peace.